In the lawless sweep of 1876 Nebraska territory, Eleanor Zimmerman arrives in Nebraska City seeking nothing but anonymity and a chance to rebuild the life she lost. But trouble finds her first. Cornered in a dark alley by the ruthless Tanner brothers, men she had hoped never to face again, her fate seems sealed. Until a single gunshot slices through the night. Hunter Thornton, a brooding cowboy with grief etched into every line of his face, steps out of the shadows. Bound by shared trauma and hunted by the same outlaws, their unlikely alliance sparks a journey toward justice, healing, and unexpected love. In the late spring of 1876, Nebraska City stirred awake beneath the cool dawn, its dirt streets still wet from the previous night's storm. Wagons creaked. Merchants shouted. Horses snorted in their stalls. But for Eleanor Zimmerman, none of it softened the constant thud of fear in her chest. She had come here only 3 weeks earlier, alone, desperate, and running from a past she never dared speak aloud. Nebraska City was supposed to be a place where no one knew her name, where she could start fresh, where the mistakes of her family would no longer shadow her every move. But trouble had a way of traveling faster than a frightened woman. And that trouble now stood at the far end of the alley behind the boarding house. The Tanner brothers. 3 of them, Ben, Clay, and Henry, lean, mean, and infamous across the territory. Outlaws with blood on their hands and greed in their veins. Eleanor had prayed they'd never catch up to her. She should have known better. Men like that didn't let loose ends slip away. Her breath fogged in the cold morning air as she backed into a wall, gripping her shawl tighter around her trembling shoulders. Well now, Ben Tanner sneered, stepping forward with a wolfish grin, didn't reckon we'd find you hidin', so close to town. Thought you'd have run further, Ellie girl. My name isn't Ellie, she whispered, though her voice shook too badly to sound convincing. And I don't want any trouble. Clay laughed, a harsh and ugly sound. Trouble? You are the trouble. Eleanor knew running would be pointless, they'd shoot her before she took 3 steps. Her heart hammered so violently she nearly collapsed under its weight. They were going to drag her back. Use her. Hurt her. Or worse. Then, suddenly, a shadow moved behind the brothers. A soft click echoed through the alley. And a calm, low voice said, "Step away from the lady." The brothers stiffened and slowly turned. Standing at the mouth of the alley was a tall man dressed in a dust-covered duster, a wide-brimmed hat pulled low over his eyes. He held a Colt revolver steady in his right hand, his posture relaxed but deadly. His name, though Eleanor didn't know it yet, was Hunter Thornton. Clay spat at the ground. "This ain't your business, cowboy." Hunter's jaw tightened. "You made it my business the second you laid a hand on her." Ben drew his gun, too slow. Hunter's shot rang out first. Ben howled as his revolver flew from his hand, the bullet knocking it across the dirt. Clay reached for his own weapon, but Hunter's second shot blasted the ground inches from his boot. "Next one goes straight through your skull," Hunter growled. The brothers froze. Clay grabbed Henry by the arm. "This ain't over," he hissed, glaring at Eleanor. Then with a final curse, they backed out of the alley and disappeared into the morning crowd. Silence fell. Eleanor remained frozen against the wall, trembling, barely believing she was still alive. Hunter holstered his gun and approached her slowly, giving her space. "You all right, ma'am?" he asked gently. Her voice cracked. I think so. Thank you. I thought I was going to." Her knees buckled. Hunter stepped forward quickly, steadying her with both hands. His touch was warm, steady, grounding. "You're safe now," he murmured. "I won't let them hurt you." For the first time in months, she believed it. Hunter walked her back to the boarding house, his presence alert, eyes scanning every corner as if expecting the brothers to jump out again. Eleanor stole quiet glances at him, his broad shoulders, the worn leather at his sleeves, the faint scar across his jaw. He seemed carved from the land itself, rugged, watchful, unbreakable. But behind his eyes, she sensed a weight as heavy as her own. Inside the house, the landlady fussed over Eleanor, bringing her warm tea and blankets. Hunter stood near the door, arms crossed, gaze locked on her like a guard dog refusing to rest. "Why did you help me?" Eleanor finally asked when the room quieted. Hunter shifted, removing his hat. "Because I know what the Tanners are capable of." "How?" she whispered. His eyes darkened. "They murdered my sister." The words landed like a stone in the room. Eleanor's breath caught. Pain flashed across Hunter's face, not fresh, but deep. The kind that settled in the bones and stayed there. "I've been tracking them for months," he continued softly. "But when I saw them coming after you, I couldn't just stand by." Eleanor nodded slowly. She understood too well the horror of being hunted. "Thank you," she whispered again. "I owe you my life." Hunter's gaze softened in a way that startled her. "You don't owe me a thing." Days passed. Hunter stayed in town, at first to watch over her, then because something quiet and unspoken began to form between them. Eleanor found herself drawn to him, to the steady warmth he carried even in silence. He treated her gently, with respect she rarely experienced in life. And Hunter, stern, haunted Hunter, found himself easing whenever she smiled. Her presence softened the edges of a world that had carved him into a weapon. But the threat wasn't gone. Not by a long shot. The Tanner brothers wanted Eleanor. They wanted revenge. And they wanted to shut Hunter up permanently. One night, long after sunset, Hunter knocked on her door, breathless. "They're coming," he said. "Tonight." Eleanor's heart lurched. "What do we do?" His answer was immediate. "We run. Together." She met his gaze, steady, fierce, full of something she didn't dare name yet. "Do you trust me?" he asked. For the first time since her old life fell apart, she didn't hesitate. "Yes." Under a moonlit sky, they rode out of Nebraska City, the wind sharp and the stars burning bright overhead. The Tanners followed, their shadows stretching across the plains. Hunter and Eleanor found shelter in an abandoned cabin several miles out. There, as the fire crackled and wind howled through the eaves, Eleanor told him her truth, the nightmare of her past, the reason the Tanners hunted her. And Hunter listened. Really listened. Then he told her about his sister. The guilt. The revenge that consumed him. Two broken souls, sharing their cracks. And somehow, becoming whole. When the Tanners finally cornered them the next afternoon at the ridge above the Platte River, Hunter stood his ground. Gunfire erupted. Dust flew. The world became a blur of noise and terror. But side by side, Hunter firing with deadly accuracy, Eleanor loading bullets with trembling hands, they fought back. In the end, Hunter's rage and Eleanor's courage ended the Tanners' reign of terror once and for all. The silence afterward was staggering. Eleanor collapsed against Hunter, sobbing with relief. He wrapped his arms around her, pulling her close. "It's over," he whispered. "You're free." She looked up at him, tears shining like glass. "So are you." Months later, Nebraska City whispered a new story. The mysterious cowboy who once walked like a ghost now smiled like a man reborn. And the woman he saved became the woman he loved. Hunter built a cabin near the river, a place of peace, not vengeance. Eleanor filled it with warmth, books, flowers, dreams she once thought impossible. And together, they built a life forged from survival, healed through love, and blessed with a future neither believed they deserved. Their story began with danger. But it ended with forever.